Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, policeman hospitalized after being mowed down during St. Andrew traffic stop. A policeman remains in hospital with multiple injuries after being mowed down by a motorist during a traffic stop along Old Hope Road in St. Andrew on Thursday. The police say counseling support is being provided by its chaplaincy unit to the colleagues of the injured policeman. The driver is still being sought by the police. It is reported that about 6 p.m., traffic cops were conducting an enforcement operation along the roadway when the motorist was stopped after a traffic breach was reportedly observed. During the traffic stop, the officer was allegedly grabbed by the motorist, who objected to being recorded by the police body cam. The motorist then reportedly drove off, hitting the officer and pinning him under the vehicle, which ran over his head. The injured policeman was subsequently rushed to hospital, where he was admitted in serious condition. Meanwhile, members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force are requesting prayers for the injured officer, who is said to be receiving urgent medical care. In a statement today, the High Command of the Jamaica Constabulary Force has strongly condemned the actions of the motorist who ran over the police officer during the traffic stop. In wishing the injured officer a speedy recovery, the police high command dubbed the incident a senseless act of violence against our officers, while outlining that an investigation into the incident is far advanced. We denounce this senseless act of violence against our officers and reaffirm our commitment to upholding the law, safeguarding our citizens, and maintaining order. Any form of violence towards our officers will be met with the strictest application of the law, the Police High Command's statement read. We urge the public to cooperate with law enforcement and refrain from actions that jeopardize lives. The JCF remains dedicated to ensuring safety and justice for all Jamaicans, the statement continued, as law enforcers urge the members of the public who may have witnessed the incident to call Crime Stop at 311 or the Police Emergency Center at 119. Vybz Cartel appears to threaten woman on TikTok Live. Less than a fortnight after his release from prison, dancehall entertainer Vybz Cartel seemingly threatened to physically harm a woman during a TikTok Live session. Social media users speculate that the woman is his fiancée, Sidem Osturk. In an appearance with his lawyer, Isaac Buchanan on Thursday night, the newly released entertainer was heard in the background threatening to box down a woman. The woman, whose face was not shown on camera, was heard explaining to the DJ that she was simply asking for the Wi-Fi password. The entertainer appeared to believe that the live stream had paused, as his lawyer had indicated they were on a commercial break. "My girl, who you there chat to?" the DJ seemingly asked, to which the woman responded the Wi-Fi was out. The DJ then warned her, "Don't do that, you hear?" before turning his attention back to Buchanan and the live session. Realizing his outburst, Cartel then instructed the camera personnel to delete the part there. However, his viewers had already witnessed the incident. "Them can't hear we?" Cartel inquired, to which his lawyer responded, "How you mean?" Buchanan, seemingly attempting to downplay the situation, jokingly asked viewers to unsee the debacle. "The part they can't delete. Unsee it, remove it," Buchanan said. Cartel has since been trending on X, formerly known as Twitter, as the footage circulates. Some users have called for him to be sent back to prison. "This man needs to focus on his health and rebranding himself. This is a different era. Seems like prison was a waste of time. Some arrogant prick," one user commented. "Jamaica put him back in prison," another user posted. Cartel and his co-accused were set free on July 31 after the Court of Appeal ruled against retrying them for the murder of Clive Lizard Williams. Fish vendors in Alligator Pond seek governmental support amid slow sales. Fish vendors in Alligator Pond, South Manchester, are seeking governmental support amid slow sales after the fishing village and the surrounding communities were dealt a devastating blow by Hurricane Beryl. The vendors are also appealing for Jamaicans outside of the community to make purchases as they try to get back on their feet. The vendors say they had to dispose of hundreds of pounds of fish in the days after the storm, and the situation has not improved as sections of the community are still without electricity. During a visit to the fishing village on Thursday, they related having to pay exorbitant prices for ice to keep their fish fresh. Others whose power has been restored are under pressure from fishermen who themselves incurred heavy losses to pay for fish taken on consignment before the storm.
We don't have a strong business as usual, because everybody is on a downfall right now. And right now is the corner right to back to school. Then even the stall that we build, if it blow away, we have to build it back over. We will even lose, if you even look at the fish, then this is the type of fish where we sell. And then to lose such an igloo, you lose this igloo because we never have no light. We have power cut, so we have to dash with all these. These are 1,200 a pound. And really and truly, sometimes fishermen give for goods, then give for sell for 2 days, 3 days, then come back and call it. Now, we get some before the storm. People still look forward for their money. Right now, we in debt, we have to ask them to take with time to pay. Sometimes even for the yard, they come and call the same way to say, then give you their goods and they want their money. And it's really hard. I look back and help back to us, my business.
Meanwhile, residents of Coastal Road who are yet to have their electricity restored are not optimistic about that happening by Monday. The Jamaica Public Service Company has announced that it is on track to meet its August 12th deadline for full restoration of electricity to customers in all parishes except St. Elizabeth. At the same time, Omar Robinson, councillor for the Alligator Pond Division, has called for a speeding up of the pace of assessment for people in Alligator Pond who suffered structural damage during the hurricane. Councillor Robinson said teams from the Social Development Commission and the Ministry of Labour and Social Security have visited with some of the residents. He urged the authorities to quickly complete the assessment so that residents can get the necessary assistance and return to normality.
Alligator Pond was one of those areas earmarked as most devastated hit during the Hurricane Beryl. So the data collection, that aspect was done. Some level of assessment has been done, but not up to the pace that we are hoping that it should be. Some persons have not seen any person from the assessment team as yet. And when we had rain a few days ago, they would have called to say it's leaking. So we're hoping that the assessment can be, speed up a little and get back our residents up and running to normalcy.
Curfew imposed in Green Island, Hanover. A 48-hour curfew has been imposed in sections of Green Island, Hanover. The curfew, which began at 6 p.m. Thursday, will remain in effect until 6 p.m. on Saturday. The boundaries of the curfew are north at Orange Bay Square along the highway to the small bridge beside Lobster Smokehouse, east along an imaginary line from the small bridge beside Lobster Smokehouse to Marchtown Square, south from Marchtown Road along an imaginary line through Dam Road area to the entrance of Dam Road, west from the entrance to Dam Road District along the main road to Orange Bay Square. During the hours of the curfew, all persons within its boundaries are required to remain within their premises unless otherwise authorized by the ground commander. Paulwell blasts OUR over low $2 million penalty for JPS. Opposition spokesman on energy, Philip Paulwell, has blasted the Office of the Utilities Regulation for the low $2 million fine announced for the Jamaica Public Service Company if it fails to meet the August 12 deadline for full restoration of electricity across the island. The OUR issued a directive on July 31 instructing JPS to repair its damaged network infrastructure and to follow its schedule to restore power to customers who lost the power during Hurricane Beryl. Failure to comply with the OUR directive within the time specified will render JPS liable to enforcement action pursuant to Section 9 of the Office of Utilities Regulation Act. Mr. Paulwell believes the $2 million penalty is not enough given the extreme circumstances facing residents who have been without electricity for more than a month.
I am concerned also about the role of the OUR because the OUR came out with a statement and made a ridiculous announcement that the JPS will be fined $2 million. And the assumption was it would be $2 million US. But to impose a fine of $2 million Jamaican dollars for not meeting that timeline, I don't think people understand how difficult it has been for people, especially those now in St. Elizabeth. And it is ludicrous and ridiculous. And I think the JPSC now needs to be absolutely certain about any new timelines that they are going to announce, because they will not be meeting the August 12th timeline. I don't think the role of the OUR should be maintained as is. And that's the reason why I've called for emergency provisions in the electricity law that has been debated now to deal with electricity during a disaster. And it cannot be business as usual in terms of the role of the OUR. There must be a body established that will make early determination of the extent of the disaster, and to make realistic assessment of how restoration will be done, and also to ensure that there is no political intervention in where and how restoration is conducted.
Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.